I remember my brother coming home one day. He was maybe 18, 19. And both my brother and I, one of our first jobs, my first real job was construction. I mean, age 15, you went out and my dad was a construction foreman. And so you went and you worked and dad didn't cut you any slack and you worked hard. And there was always a rule there, the golden rule of construction. One time, another foreman asked, he says, "Do you know the golden rule of construction?" I said, "Well, do unto others as others do unto you." He says, "No, no, no. The golden rule of construction is 10 fingers, 10 toes, end of day." Just keep everything safe. Well, my brother comes home. I've since moved on from construction at that point, and he comes home and he's got a big bandage right around, I think it was his middle finger. And so obviously we're like, "What happened?" And he's like, "Well, I was, putting the walls up, and you've got these powerful nail guns with these 3-inch nails, and he shot himself right through the fingers. I think he actually hit both fingers." And so he pulls the nail out, bandages it up, and everything seems to be fine, except it begins to kind of hurt a little bit. And then a day or two later, it gets bigger. And then my parents leave for vacation for, I think, the following week. And folks, I kid you not, I think it was his middle finger, maybe it was both of them, had grown to about triple the size it was supposed to be. It was massive. It was brown. He was soaking it in all kinds of liquids. My mom is calling and saying, "Try this, dig it out from the back of the little medicine cabinet, some weird like Russian potions, and nothing was working." And so finally, he manned up enough to be a bigger man than he was, and to go and get his finger fixed. And they had to, just bleed all the stuff that was in it. It was just incredibly gross. Well, the reason I tell this story is so many times we come to Christ at the very last minute when things are already poor. I love David's heart in Psalm 139:23. Before anything really gets bad, he can wake up and already he can come to the Lord and sing this psalm. He says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my anxious thoughts, and see if there be any hurtful way in me." David is not waiting when the finger is 3 times the size, when the sin is obvious, when the sin is painful, when you might die because the gangrene goes into the rest of your hand. He says, "God, before any of that, there might be something here. Can you examine it? Can you look at me?" Like somebody that comes to a doctor at the emergency room and saying, "I think something might be wrong." And the doctor begins to probe and pinch and say, "Does this hurt? Can you feel that? What about this? Can you feel where I touch you here? How does this feel?" David says, "I need an inspection. I need an analysis. I need a CAT scan. Can you examine me? I'm afraid something is wrong." There were many in the times of Jesus that were sick, and only those that came to him received healing. If you don't come and ask Christ to open your eyes, how would he? Where is that avenue for you to realize your own illness? Where is that transparency that you will find? There was a couple that came up after a service, and I mean, it's just a terrible relationship. And she comes up and she's crying, and she's like, "My marriage is all tore up." And he comes up and he's mad that she came out and even decided to have this conversation. And so the pastor's taken back, and they're having this conversation with them about what's going on in your marriage. And on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 12. It's everything's fallen apart. And as they're digging in, they're saying, "Why didn't you come earlier? Why didn't you come in when you first had an inkling things were bad?" And they said, "We were trying to play the happy couple. We wanted things to look good. And so the finger got bigger, the sore got worse, the infection got deeper because sin wasn't addressed with right away." Man, Christ calls that out. Matthew 11:28, he says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Man, we don't want to bother Christ. And Christ says, "You need to come to me." The best believers are the needy ones that wants to come to Christ and fall on their knees and say, "Lord, I need you again. I couldn't make another minute without you." And he says, that's my child. He always needs me. That is the one who I love. Rick Warren says, your most profound and intimate experiences of worship will likely be in your darkest days. When your heart is broken, when you feel abandoned, when you're out of options, when the pain is great, and you turn to God alone. Man, I think God puts us in those positions when we don't seek him outside of those positions. And so, folks, again, don't wait too long. When you sense there's something wrong in that relationship, when God feels different, come to him. Be the needy child that begs for his father's attention. God bless you.